Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Allentown Art Museum's virtual Valentine's Day celebration. My name is Abby, and I'm going to be your host tonight. So pull someone you love up very, very close because we have a jam-packed hour of events. We're going to start, as any good romantic night should, with some cocktails and some chocolate piping. Afterwards, we'll get to enjoy some beautiful jazz from the Najwa Parkins Trio. I'd like to give a special thanks to Jazz Lives Philadelphia for their help coordinating this event. So without further ado, grab your shaker and we're gonna get started with those cocktails from Craft+Barrel.
Hi, happy Valentine's Day. My name's Alexis. I'm a bartender here at Craft+Barrel in Topton, and we are here to kick off the Allentown Art Museum's virtual Valentine's Day event. To kick off the show, we're gonna make some cocktails. First up, we have the Sweetie Martini. For this martini, you're going to need Di Serono. Any amaretto of your choice is perfectly fine. White chocolate Godiva liqueur, vanilla vodka, any cream-based mixer, almond milk, regular cream. I'm using 2% milk, whatever you would like, and some honey and nonpareils for the toppings. Start by pouring 1 ounce of vanilla vodka into a shaker or a cup large enough to stir all the ingredients. Next, 1 ounce of white chocolate liqueur, and then 1 ounce of amaretto. Optional, add a splash of grenadine for pink coloring. And finally, add 1 ounce of milk. Remember to shake or stir with a smile. Now for the garnishes. Place honey and nonpareils onto a plate. Roll the rim of the martini glass in the honey and then in the nonpareils. There you have it, our Sweetie Martini. Next up is raspberry cream soda. For this drink, you're going to need Chambord, a doubles glass, some club soda, whipped cream, and whatever Valentine's Day sprinkles you would like. Fill your glass with ice, then add 3 ounces of Chambord, and 2 ounces of club soda. Add whipped cream and sprinkles. You can drink as is or mix it to create a cream soda. Ta-da! Our raspberry cream soda. And there you have it. I can't wait for you guys at home to try these delicious Valentine's Day drinks. Once again, we are the Craft+Barrel. We are open Thursday through Sunday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Come down, have some brunch, dinner, and try our select feature drinks. Thank you again to the Allentown Art Museum for inviting us to join their Valentine's Day virtual event. Thank you. Have a great night.
Today we are going to be learning some live chocolate pouring. Here's my little setup. But before I give you the intro of how to melt and pipe your chocolate, I just want to talk a little bit about why chocolate piping can be such a fun thing to do on Valentine's Day. So a few years ago, I took a class at Northampton Community College where we learned how to do chocolate piping and different ways to work with chocolates. And it was really an awesome, fun, and engaging experience to not only make something for the person you love, but make something with the person you love. So I hope that you can use this technique and have a lot of fun together. So on my stovetop here, I have my double boiler with my melted chocolate. If you can see, my chocolate's fully melted just to save us some time because it can take a few minutes for your chocolate to melt correctly. So my choice of chocolate was I used these baking chocolate chips. And I also threw in a few of regular milk chocolate chips just to add a little bit of sweetness and texture to it. So I have my double boiler here, which is a kind of double chambered heating device. So the bottom container is hot water, and then the top container just holds the chocolate. Whenever you're working with melting chocolate, you want to do indirect heat. So you never want to put chocolate directly on the burner. So at home, you can improvise that a few ways if you don't have a double boiler. You can just get a regular pot or pan like this, and you can pop another pot or a heat-safe bowl on top, pour your chocolate inside with some water on the bottom, and just bring that to a low simmer. So you want your chocolate melting to be very gradual and slow. You don't want to melt it all too much at once because it's very easy to burn chocolate, and burnt chocolate does not make for a good eating experience. You can also melt chocolate just with a regular microwave bowl in the microwave. So if you add your chocolate directly into the bowl, you can microwave with bursts of 10 to 15 seconds until it's fully melted, mixing between each time. So I have my melted chocolate here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour it into a piping bag that I have. So I put a regular old piping bag that you can get at Michael's or Joann's or even the dollar store inside of a mason jar, and I'm just going to pour it directly in. So something important to remember when you are melting chocolate is that you want to make sure that your bowls or your double boiler or whatever else you use should be completely dry on the inside, because whenever you add water to melted chocolate, you can get a very gritty texture, and that's not what you're looking for. So now that I've got my chocolate inside of my piping bag, and if you don't have a piping bag, you can use a regular old Ziploc bag like this and just pour it into the corner. I like to use a rubber band to seal up the end. So I'm just going to take the bag out of the jar, and you'll get something that looks like this, which might remind you of what you see chefs using to pipe icing. So I'm just going to use a rubber band to seal up the end of my bag. So I went through that very quickly. It might take probably 10 to 15 minutes for you to melt your chocolate properly at home, but for the sake of time, this is just a very quick expedited way of doing it. Now that I have my chocolate piping bag ready to go, I'm just going to very quickly move over to the table. And while I do so, Abby, could you please play the slideshow? I'm going to do all of my piping directly onto wax paper or parchment paper. And I like to keep a baking sheet underneath of my wax paper or parchment paper just so it's easy to really move around, put directly into the fridge this way. And I just used regular Reynolds parchment paper, but you can use any kind that you can find. So I've got my piping bag here, and I'm just going to use my scissors to snip off a really, really tiny opening. You don't want to create a big giant gap by cutting here, just cut off a really, really tiny opening. If you've ever seen videos of icing piping, they use very, very fine tips because it's always easier to kind of go back in and widen it up. But once you make that first cut, if it's too big, you have to move all of your chocolate over. So really quickly, now that I have cut my opening, I think it's about the right size. I'm just going to do a little bit of a practice run, getting my pressure and the feel of the piping bag right in my hands. So if you notice, it's safe to handle. It's not too hot. It's not burning me. If it's too warm to touch, Try putting it aside for a few minutes. You can give it a little bit of a dip into cooler water just to cool it down enough to be comfortable to touch. And I'm also squeezing from the top. So if you end up squeezing from the middle or close to the bottom, the way you would hold a pencil, you're going to end up getting like really squiggly lines and not having a lot of control. So I am just going to create a little noodly design. Really quickly, just to experiment with different forms of pressure. So something that's important to remember while you are doing your chocolate designs is that you want all of your lines to touch each other. So if you have some lines that aren't touching in the middle, your design is going to end up being really fragile and not hold up as well when you go to take it off of your baking sheet and create a gift.
I put this back in with the rest for you. You're not gonna want to eat that. It's cold. Cheese is congealed.
So I just made a really quick little rose design very quickly. I want to show you just an example of what I mean when I'm talking about making sure you have bridges and breaks on your chocolate. So here I've got two examples, and I can just say that this one is going to end up kind of falling apart when I take it off the parchment paper because it's not connected, and this one's super well connected. So now that I did the experiment and I realized that I like my pressure, I don't think I need to adjust the cut at all. I'm going to create a little bit of a drawing here, and you can actually make some really intricate, awesome designs without too much experience or practice, just by using a little bit of a pattern underneath your wax paper. So you can see through almost like tracing paper. So this is an artwork by Keith Haring that we currently have on display at the museum. It's called Man and Heart. It's one of my favorite works by Keith Haring. And I'm just going to use my chocolate and just go around and trace the outline of the edge. So this is the artwork that I chose to highlight, but you can do almost any kind of design that you would like to. If you wanted to get really intricate, you could even take a family photo and trace the lines and designs to make a picture of you and the person that you love. So I'm just going over and kind of filling in the lines here. Generally speaking, when you're piping or even drawing with a kind of a liquid medium like this, you want to go top down and work over from the left-hand side down to the right, so you don't accidentally drag your hand through whatever design you just made. So I have got my little Keith Haring here, and see if I have time for another design. So another thing you can do is lettering and typography, if that's what you're interested in. This is a cute little design that I made really quickly. So I'm just going to slide that under so you can do that too. Chocolate piping and chocolate work is something that is really fun and easy to get into, but it's definitely difficult to master. So you can experiment with it. It's very easy to get into and try. And you can figure out different ways and techniques that work for you. One trick with typography is just to keep your hand moving. The faster you move your hands, generally the more even it will turn out. So if you have a section that's shaky, you can always go back and kind of add on very carefully, or just simply drag the tip of your chocolate piping bag over the design to even it out just a little bit. One of the last things that you can do that is always super impressive to put on top of a cake or a cupcake or something similar is if you just do kind of a wavy design. So something like that is going to dry, and then you can put it on top of something and it ends up looking very elegant. And it's a super easy thing to do to impress company. So the last thing I want to talk about is what to do once you are totally finished with all of your piping. If you have extra chocolate, you can always cut open the piping bag and dip things like strawberries or pieces of pineapple in it to make chocolate covered fruit. Or you can just leave it to cool at room temperature. I always advise people to leave it to cool at room temperature and not put it directly in the fridge, because if it gets too cold too quickly, it'll develop kind of a sweaty sheen to it. And this way it'll dry completely smooth and flat. So I will demonstrate really quickly how to take your chocolate off of the wax paper. If you have a piece of chocolate like this, you can always use a spatula to wedge underneath, but it is really, really simple and easy to just go right in and directly lift off of your wax paper. Oh, I think this one got a little bit melted. We'll do this guy. So if you can see, I'm pulling off the wax paper from the back, just very gently. So this way you can see it peels right off, and then you can add it and stick it on top of a cupcake or just gift it that way by itself. So does anybody have any questions before we move on?
Thanks so much for showing us these awesome techniques, Nicole. If anyone has any questions as we continue, please feel free to put those in the chat. And we are just going to take a very, very brief intermission while our musicians get set up. And without further ado, we are going to pass it on to our big players for tonight. We are very excited to have the Najwa Parkins Trio with us. I'd like to start out by thanking Jazz Lives Philadelphia. Jazz Lives Philadelphia is a 501c3 that celebrates jazz through performance, education, and community outreach. You can find them on their website at jazzlivesphiladelphia.org or on Facebook and Instagram. In case you want some more music, they've also been having a weekly broadcast on Friday nights interviewing a series of musicians from Philadelphia. So again, for more information on that, visit jazzlivesphiladelphia.org. And with that, I am going to spotlight our beautiful musicians here and do a very quick introduction. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Najwa Trio. We have Najwa Parkins, of course, who's singing for us tonight. We also have Silas Irvine on piano and Sam Harris on bass. So take it away, guys.
1, 2, 3, 4. Every time we say goodbye. Sleeping in the palm of your hand, bewitched I'll look on the last one.
If you hear a song
Sky so vast as the sky, with faraway clouds just wandering
One, two, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the Najwa Parkins trio. Can we just show some love for them in the comments really quick if you're still around? That was an incredible performance. Again, we have Najwa Parkins, our vocalist. We also have Silas Irvine on piano, and we have Sam Harris on bass. Thank you guys so much. That was such a wonderful performance and made tonight really, really special. So for all of you who are still here, I encourage you, if you haven't made plans for tomorrow yet and you haven't had your fill of love and art, stop by the Allentown Art Museum anytime between 11 and 4. We have some really exciting love themed tours and activities going on for everyone. People of all ages, please again stop by 11 to 4 for some more Valentine celebration tomorrow. And if you're not going out and you'd rather stay virtual, we do have another event next Thursday night at 6 o'clock. We're going to be exploring the attribution of our work by Rembrandt that just returned to the museum. We have some world-renowned scholars that are going to be with us in that conversation, so I encourage you to come back and learn a little bit about our Rembrandt. So without further any more music or chocolate, I hope that you all had a wonderful time. Again, please pull someone that you love up close and share that love with them, because that's what Valentine's Day is all about. We'll see everyone soon. Have a great night.